Welcome back to the Boss Babe podcast. So when Ashley first set out to become an author, she spent 3 years writing her first book, only to face rejection after rejection. But instead of giving up, she discovered a step-by-step system that transformed her into an international best-selling author with a book option for film and TV. And from there, she built a $2.5 million coaching business, helping other writers do the same. And so in today's episode, she shares the exact framework she uses to take aspiring authors from blank page to published book, and the simple yet powerful sales engine she built inside of Freedom Fast Track that continues to fuel her business year after year after year. You will hear how a life-changing accident completely reshaped her priorities, why she believes every business has its own DNA, and how she structures her week for both creative flow and revenue growth. Whether you dream of publishing a book or building a funnel that actually works, or maybe running your business with more intention and freedom, this conversation will inspire you to turn your passion into predictable profit, which is what we love. And for those of you who want to experience the same transformation that Ashley did, you can join the waitlist for Freedom Fast Track. Just head to the show notes to register your interest. Okay, let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
So give me a little bit of context on your career and how you landed doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so I originally started with wanting to be an author myself, and I found that journey really challenging. I was successful with a lot of short pieces of writing, and that's kind of how I came up, is writing short stories in school and stuff like that. But I thought to myself, I can write a book, I know how, start to finish. I'll just sit down and do it. And so I set off writing. It actually took me 3 years to finish this book. And I'm talking nights and weekends and giving up all sorts of different fun things to sit and write. And at the end of that journey, I, sent the book to a lot of people that I had made connections with in publishing. And I waited as they reviewed everything. And slowly the rejections started coming in. And one by one, it was yeah, this isn't good enough to be published, go back to the drawing board type of thing. So my own dream as an author, I really had to sit down with myself and go, okay, clearly there's something here that I don't know. I need to figure out from other successful authors what it takes to do this properly and what that looks like. So I got a coach. I got an amazing coach. Her name was Deborah, and she took me through the process from start to finish, and she was very encouraging. And what I realized is actually, like anything, there's a system to writing books, and it's a step by step. It's not just winging it and kind of putting words down. And I had this vision that was just like an artistic endeavor and not a process that people can follow. And you can learn this process. Anyone can learn it. So once I kind of understood that, then my next book, everything was completely different. I finished it in a matter of months. I submitted it. I got readers, through Instagram. I got a publisher on board. I got option for film and television, and the book just took off. It was an international bestseller, and my life completely changed because I was suddenly doing the thing that I had desired, but doing it successfully. And it was all because I think I learned that step by step and I started applying it. So it wasn't long until people started asking me if I could help them with their stuff too, and just very organically began doing that. And I realized there's a lot of people that want to do this and don't know how and where to start. And so that's where the coaching kind of began. And I eventually found my footing with building the business and starting to help people and actually get paid for it, which is nice. So that's where it all began. And everything was very organic, from that point.
When you say you wanted to be an author, from what age and where did this come from?
This is a crazy thing with me. I remember being 7 years old and writing these little books, but they were short, just little books I'd staple together, and I'd write these little stories, and I just loved it. I loved storytelling so much, but I got very into the creative part of that, and I didn't necessarily understand, okay, there's a strategy to this. You can learn the success steps one by one. So it was I was very young when I began that journey and wanting to tell stories. Yeah.
And then with your second book, what was it about, the one that ended up really succeeding?
Yeah. So it was a dystopian sci-fi novel for young adults. And it was all about this future world without books. So imagining what would a world look like if books couldn't exist, if readers couldn't read, and we'd forgotten this very human part of us that books are, right? Our stories are messages. And so I imagine this world very kind of Fahrenheit 451 type thing. And I just had my own spin, my own take on it. And just, yeah, it was this whole amazing world that I just got sucked into creating.
And did you try anything else career-wise? Or you're like, no, this is exactly what I want to do. I'm just going all in with this?
I tried a lot of things. I did so many things on that journey and that spectrum of trying to get the book done and get it out there. I did a lot of freelancing. I tried writing, copywriting for advertising a little bit and just didn't quite gel with me. I tried the music industry for a while and doing some, brand stuff for that. And I loved all of it. I just had this niggling desire that there was more, this feeling that I wasn't really contributing the best of me, but I didn't know what that was at the time. Like I hadn't found it yet. And I think it made me feel a bit lost, at certain times, right? Like not knowing that can be challenging. Yeah.
And so then what was your decision to put that second book? I guess you had a bit of a crossroads. You could really follow through on that path. I'm sure there were other books, film and TV came in. There was that path, or there was the path going down actually teaching this process. What was that thought process like?
I think for me, for a very long time in my life, I did not take the wheel and I did not steer things in the direction of my dreams intentionally. I didn't even really understand that you could do that. It took me a long time to learn that style of living and thinking. So I was very much, I would let something happen and then I would sort of wait for serendipity or coincidence and then I would move, right? And so for me, I had an opportunity to do quite a lot of book to film adaptation. So I did that for a while. And I loved the book part of it, reading and researching and then turning it into something for screen is so fascinating and so much fun. But then after a while, it's like, again, there's that feeling like there's more, there's a deeper purpose. So my thought process really came into play when my husband and I we were walking down the street in our neighborhood. And this is like the saying we were talking about with Brendan is that life either gives you a chance to change your life from within or something happens from without. So for me, it happened from without. My husband and I, we were walking in our neighborhood and a car just ran through a stop sign, did a left turn. It hit both of us as we were crossing the street and we were walking. And in that single moment, I think everything in me shifted. It took a while to line up. But when you're facing that death or those mortality moments in life, you kind of realize, okay, am I living in my purpose? Am I doing what I'm here for? And am I being true to what the gifts are I have? Or am I just kind of muddling through and doing things because other people think I should do it and living in that expectation? So that was my wake-up call because everything changed the moment that car hit me. It's very ironic to say, but I'm actually really grateful that it happened, even though it kind of brought both of us to our knees in every way and shape and form, like a human can be brought back to earth, right? And so suddenly all the films, nothing mattered. It was just about who are you? What are you doing? How can you heal? How can you help other people and rebuild yourself? So we started from there, really. It was they call it the dark night of the soul. That was mine. Yeah.
Tell me more about that. So tell me like kind of where you and your husband were before that and after that.
Before that, we were finishing up a film. We were completely burned out. We were exhausted. We had both just recovered from pneumonia. So physically, mentally, spiritually, we were completely spent. There was nothing left. And at the time, I didn't know that. I had learned you just keep going. You just keep pushing. So that's where we were before. We were depleted in every way a person can be. And I remember it's so crazy because the accident happened January 2nd, 2018, and New Year's Eve, so just a couple nights before, I remember just kind of praying and sitting there and going, I really wish things would change. I wish my life could be different. And so it's sort of be careful what you wish for, but also sometimes that's what I needed. I needed that moment to make me wake up and realize this isn't your path. There's something else you can do. And if you can just focus, if you can just put your efforts into one thing and not try to do a million things, just one thing that you're really good and passionate about, maybe you'll see a difference like all around, right? So that's what changed.
I think a lot of people can relate to that of doing so many different things. I know I can. And it's almost like when you're trying to find the thing that really resonates with you, you have to try everything on, but then financially you have to say yes to a lot of things that you probably wouldn't because you've got to make ends meet. And then at one point you start to look at people that are just like, people have their thing. Like I remember for me, like I always looked at my husband, his thing was gaming. I would constantly be like, I wish I knew my thing. What's my thing? And I was so jealous that he had this so defined. But I realized it's not necessarily because he was, maybe he's very good at it, so perhaps he's destined for it. But it started with a decision for him of, I'm going to go all in on this thing. Like I'm just going to burn the boats here and try this. And I realized I'd never really given myself that opportunity to even go all in because it's risky.
Yeah.
So what were you risking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I relate to that so much. I think for women, oftentimes we feel a sense of, I should do this, I should do that, I need to support this person. And for me, that's where I had been led astray so many times, is that shoulding myself to death. Like I should do this because it's the right move. But then it's such a great wake-up call life can give you sometimes, where you really look and go, okay, no, let's redirect, like intentionally let's redirect. So I'm grateful that it happened. And the after is so different. Just began writing again, began connecting with people that I could help. And you're right. Like at first, when you're starting, you have to say yes to a lot of things that, as you grow, it just wouldn't be part of your focus. You wouldn't be doing that anymore. But at that time, I said yes to pretty much anyone who needed help with their writing, their storytelling. And that's where, I started to zero in and go, what I really love is the authorship question of like, how do we take a person that's never written a book like I was at that time? How do we take this person and how do we turn them into an author? And that's what my coach did for me. And so I started to step into that role for other people, a little unintentionally at first, and then very intentionally when I saw I can actually make a big difference to them. I can show them the path like I was shown the path. And I think I can refine some of it to make it even faster and easier for them. And so as soon as I realized that, that's that fun part where, the rubber meets the road and you're like, I can transform people's lives like the way you do with business owners, like with female entrepreneurs. Like I can make a difference. I can show them what works and break it down, make it more straightforward. And that to me that's everything, because now you're changing people's lives and that feels so good. That feels so rewarding. So that's kind of the after effect of the whole journey. Yeah.
So this was in 2018. Where's your business gotten to now?
So the business is bigger than I ever envisioned it would be. It's such a nice feeling, and I started in 2019 really intentionally and began building. And now we've just crossed over 2.5 million in revenue, which is pretty great. And we're a small team. It's like there's me, we've got a few team members, and obviously FFT has been a big part of that, learning funnels, learning the sales engine, which is really important. Like it's so important to know how to make money. And this is a big question for a lot of women, is like, you want to know how to fish. You want to feel confident. I can go out. I know I can make money. I have a sales engine that works. And so many people I feel like they don't have that. They feel lost, with that question.
Yeah. I think it's tough because none of us really get into business because we're excited about making sales. Like, yeah, we want to make the money, we want the revenue, but like if you get into business, you're getting into business because you love writing and you want to teach people how to write books. You're not like, let me learn marketing, let me learn how to do all of that, because it pulls you away from the thing you actually like doing. So it's such an interesting balance, because I think every business owner has to learn it. I think it's impossible to hire that kind of thing out until you've got some kind of system playbook running for you. But I think that's what trips a lot of business owners up, because a lot of them are creatives and they come in and like, wait, I don't want to do the sales part. I want to do the writing part or the coaching part.
Yeah, that is almost verbatim what I said to my husband. I said, okay, I'm going to set up this business, LA Writing Coach, and I'm going to coach people to write books. And it's going to be cool though, because I'm going to do all this coaching. I'm never going to sell. I'm never going to sell anything. And he was like, Ash, he's very quiet. Like he doesn't often express. And so I was like, I'm never going to sell anything. So it's going to be amazing. I'm definitely not going to sell on the phone, or I'm not going to sell in person either. And then, a few months ago, I'm like, I guess I got to pick up the phone and start selling. That's, we got to start doing this. Like we have to start actually engaging in the sales and marketing, and so it's remarkable how that happens. things change.
And how have you found it coming into that part of the business when it's not your core skill set? Because you are one of the perfect examples of a business owner who got into a creative business. Not because they wanted to learn marketing, but then realize, and here's the thing, it's like, if I actually want to do the thing I love, I have to learn how to market it. Otherwise, I'm doing this thing for free and I have to go get another job. So I do this thing in my spare time. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it is definitely a steep climb in terms of learning the skills that are outside your comfort zone, but you need to do it. Otherwise, you're stuck in this trap of, I want to do my passion, but I got to go make money over here. And so for me, I started, when I realized that, I was like, okay, let's get all the courses. Let's do all the funnel courses and the Facebook ads and learn all that stuff, which is really hard for my brain. My brain does not like that, you know?
I think for most people, honestly.
I think so. But you have to, at some point, you have to make it a priority, and you have to figure out, I think, from my experience, how to do it in a way that works for you, you know, and not try to do it like another person does it. And I think for me, like, this is why FFT just made such a mark on me, because I remember like the second or third module, I turned to my husband, I was like, I love how she teaches funnel.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because it was so simple and I could wrap my brain around it. My crazy storyteller, creative brain, I was like, I get it. And I've taken a lot of courses like on that. And so to have it be so simple gave me permission that I could do my thing. I could do it and plug it in to this system that you were presenting. And it's like, it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It doesn't have to be painful and all this, like, we can simplify everything. And it just broke it down for me in a way that I hadn't had it explained before, which is a huge unblock, right? Or unlock, right? Now suddenly, okay, I got it. Like, now I can really, if you understand what the sales engine is and how you can build one, like, permission to just skyrocket everything.
I like what you said too about everyone has to learn to do it in a way that works for them. Because at the end of the day, you know, you won't have the energy to do something day in, day out that feels so misaligned with you. So how has it looked for you implementing, well, successful marketing into your business model in a way that works for you?
So I think the first thing I figured out is that my business has its own unique DNA, and I can admire other businesses all day long. But if I try to model my activities based off of another business, it's not going to be a like for like. It's apples and oranges. And I wish a lot of women knew this, a lot of women business owners, like, your business is a life form. It's got its own DNA because you are your own person and unique, you know? So, but that said, you still need to, there are things across all businesses that if you can just learn that, you're going to be in such a greater position, right? So for me, how it's looked is I've done a lot of learning, I've done a lot of courses and coaching, but I think what I've discovered is if I can just stay true to how I would implement something in my voice, my style, and lean into that, then I just feel so much better showing up and things flow better. And I have better clients and it's fun. It's not a fight, you know, and it's business feels joyful. And it's like, wow, I was, you know, sharing with someone, we just had the biggest, and this is of course post FFT, but we just had the biggest March ever. And it was so easy, you know, it was so easy. And in the past, it's been like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get to this revenue goal? And now it's more like, that's the goal. Okay, let's go crush it.
And you have a roadmap. I think that's the thing. And I want to get into your sales engine. Someone was just so curious what everyone's looks like. But I think that's the thing, right? You can set a revenue goal, but if you have no kind of playbook or engine for getting there, you're like, that's just a number. And I'm kind of like hoping that we get there versus, is that number based on grounded data? Is that based on evidence? Is it based on a method?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another piece I'm learning too, because when you deal with words all the time, it can be easy to stay in the land of story and language. And like, what's the story? But what I've tried to do is ask myself, what is the story the numbers are telling me? And if I can listen to that, oh, okay, so the data is telling a story. Whoa, that's magic. Now you really understand the unique DNA of your business. So you can feed it what it needs. You can like show up in the way that's going to help it grow instead of fighting against it, right? And I think for a long time I was doing that because I didn't understand my business well enough to know what it needed and to feed it the right components. So you're trying everything. You're just like, you know, whatever you can do and experiment with, right? Kind of like a mad scientist, but that's
No, exactly like that.
Yeah. And then you kind of feel a little bit, again, that feeling of disconnection of what's my thing and what do my people need, and come back to that core thing. So that's helped a lot. And I try to share this with my authors too. Like, in the same way your book is its own DNA, you are your own DNA, right? And your business is, and they all need to be authentic to who you are. And if you try to be someone else, it's not going to work.
So tell me, what does your sales engine look like in your business?
My sales engine it's a combination, as anyone is, but it starts with very organic. So my warm network, my referrals, my followers, Instagram, people from my author days, the fiction, the original author days, they are there and they need to be nurtured. So we start with content, as always, start with content. And that's the core of it. That's, the ideal client. And then it's bringing them into a strong conversion event, which I really saw with FFT. It's like, if you structure this right, those people are going to move into a position of being ready to engage in the next step.
Yeah.
So what we tend to do is I like to develop relationships with that network as much as I can, provide them content, provide them value, whether that's my newsletter or it's Instagram or it's a free, value-based event, but then we invite them into a conversion event. So what I do now is I have and it converts so well. It's really fun. It's a 5-day 5-day boot camp.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah. So for 5 days, they learn how to get their book done. What are the components they need, how to think about it. It's sort of a crash course. So we bring everybody into that 5-day get your book done boot camp. We have VIPs that join. And then at the end, I offer them the opportunity to enroll into Book Accelerator, my coaching program. And from there, we take them, hold their hand through the process like my coach did for me. So it's a very smooth, you have this network, this audience, and when they know and they like you, they trust you, you give them an opportunity, come to this free thing. You're going to learn so much. That's the core engine. We just make sure that as many people as possible get to that event and get value from that event. That's the core thing we're doing right now. And of course, promoting the book, sharing the book is another part of that. But you still need a conversion event. You still need an opportunity for people to engage live with you. I think that's really important.
And so when you were thinking about putting on a 5-day bootcamp, I love the way it's structured because I feel like you're not getting people that are wasting your time. Like they're coming in because they want to get a book done. They're already serious. What was your process thinking through that? Was it, let me just give as much value as I can and then I'll sell them at the end? Like, how did you think through it?
Well, I'd been to a lot of great events where you're moved emotionally, psychologically, and they get you taking action. So I think modeling after what I saw working, right? Success leaves clues. You always say this.
Mm-hmm.
And so modeling after that and then thinking about, okay, what would it look like step by step to get someone ready to write? What are the core things they need to put in place? And let's just teach that. And let's be really focused. I think I'm probably guilty of over teaching, but I do it for a purpose because I want someone to come to that event, whether they sign up or not, they walk away going, wow, I get it. I get the path now.
Yeah. And do you teach it in a way where at the end of the 5 days, they either leave and they're like, okay, I get the path. I could go figure it out alone, or I get the path. And then the sell is basically this done with you.
That's it.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And lots of people do go off on their own and that's cool. That's fine. But there is a person who is like, no, let me do it right. Let me do it with a coach. Let me just get into that cohort.
Yeah.
And I'm that person. I'm like, yeah, I can go figure out a funnel on my own, but I don't want to.
Right.
That sounds like no fun. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to the person that knows it and that I admire, and I'm going to get in her sphere, right? So I'm that person, and that's the way I try to structure it for people, is give them that door, right? Open that door for them. Like, yes, you can go do it. I'm going to give you everything. I'm not going to gatekeep and hold all this back. But it's like, if you want to do it with us, yeah, it's going to be great. Like, it'll be more fun. And I feel like it does produce a better book when you do it in collaboration.
What have you found in terms of, I know you were talking about content in your audience. What have you found in terms of getting signups for your conversion event to be the most powerful thing you can do?
Oh gosh, what a great question. For me, the book is something that you could keep putting off and keep putting off and keep putting off. And so many people do. I want to write a book someday. I want to write a book one day. And you're like, yeah, start today. Like now. It's that. I have to try to give them a reason to start today.
That's tough.
It's so tough. because it's like, it's a long-term project and it's a pipe dream for a lot of people. One day I'd love to. And it's like, all right, but you only have now, you only have today. So making it immediate and making the benefits tangible, that's the lift right there. That's everything.
And are you finding the leads come more from Instagram or ads? Like, how are you getting most of your leads in?
Instagram is amazing. I love Instagram. I just love that platform. It's been great. And I think, why I've enjoyed your stuff so much too, your courses and content. So there's that. Ads have been helpful, but you have to really, I think, understand how to use them to complement what you're doing. So we have done well with ads also, but honestly, the cold traffic from ads has never replaced the warm traffic of people.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah. So the email list, building that email list and nurturing them and giving them great stuff and opportunities, that plus Instagram, plus the word of mouth, which, being part of groups and being part, of other opportunities and saying, hey, we're doing this thing, and letting people come in that way is nice too.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, I've really saw as well. Social media is really great for getting people on your email list, and your email list is really great for getting people into your conversion event. And I think when you can break it all down and understand that process, you're not guessing anymore. It's like, okay, my purpose for creating content on the front end is to get people onto my list. Then I'm going to nurture them. I'm going to pour tons of value into them. And then I'm going to invite them periodically into a conversion event. And then all of a sudden your business, it has a level of predictability to it. And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, it's a game changer because when you start, it's all, can I do this? Can I achieve the goal? And you've got the pressure financially often, as many women do. And you're trying to prove to yourself that this is viable and my thing can work. So that's where it's like, and I've said this to, other women just starting out, it's like, as soon as you can build that engine, right? If you understand those levers that you can pull, it gives you such power and control. And I'm the, type A, like if I can get a little more control, please, I will take it, because it can be scary to otherwise go, I have no idea what I'm going to do that's going to make this work. It's actually really straightforward if you're willing to invest, in yourself and in your business to learn it, I think.
Did you have a funnel before FFT, or was that the first time you built one?
I've had many funnels.
Okay.
But I don't think I understood how they functioned as well. So it always felt in my mind a little chaotic. Like there's this thing and then there's that thing and there's this type of funnel. And technically it can get very overwhelming.
So overwhelming.
So seriously, like I'd sit down like 50 funnels. I don't know, like pick one.
And then it's hard to know where your sales are coming from at that point, which I know a lot of business owners go through. And I did too, because you kind of just have to try a bunch of things to find out what works. But then you're like, well, I don't know where my sales come from, so I guess I need to keep doing everything. And then you get really stretched.
Yeah, that's the recipe for burnout is I don't know where my sales are coming from. So let me just do everything and cover all my bases. Because I think a lot of high achieving women are like, let me just cover it all. I can do it all. I can do 12 different things. And then you're like, oh no, this doesn't feel fun anymore. And so it's like, what's the point of doing a business that doesn't feel fun and you don't feel like you're living the life? Because then it starts impacting your life as well. So this to me, again, like I think your messaging is brilliant. Freedom-based business. Yes, that's what everyone wants.
That's why we all got into this in the first place. But then you get into it and you realize, wait, I have anything but freedom, because I'm just like you say, I'm covering all my bases all the time.
Yeah, I don't have freedom. I have a job now.
Yeah, I have a job. I don't like my boss. So what kind of results financially did you see from the funnel through implementing a funnel?
So FFT wise, we did 10K and it's an 8-week program. So
good.
I went in though, Natalie, I was like, listen, I'm doing this. I'm signing up and I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to actually, because a lot of the funnels before, you'll hire someone, do the funnel, do a funnel. It's like, yeah, but
I've been there.
It's like if you commit to doing it, which can be hard, but worthwhile, you're going to see, I think, better results because you're the one pushing the buttons.
Better results. Always.
Yeah. So for me, that's what happened. And I saw, $10,000 right away. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, it works.
That's pretty good. We'll just keep doing that. And the cool thing is people would say, I love that. Your funnel looks amazing. Or your PDF was so helpful. And I'm like, oh, wow, great.
Yeah, I think that's also something I really want people to understand is your marketing can and should feel like a value add for people. Like, I love when people go through my webinars and then at the end they're like, thank you, I learned so much. Like, they're not going to buy and that's fine, but they leave with a really good feeling of they learned something and they're grateful for it. And it's like, oh, well, I'm really grateful because I just had the opportunity to pitch and like a bunch of people did join me. And then the people who didn't are also really grateful that they learned something. And I think that's the difference. Like, marketing doesn't need to be this bro marketing that we've seen where it's like these sales centers and like it's so intense and, you know, door to door. And it doesn't have to feel like that. It can feel like, you know what, like every time we're in a launch and we get on webinars, like me and my whole team are like, what an amazing opportunity that we get to go and impact so many people's lives today. Whether or not they join us, I know that's what we do. And that's what your marketing can be. But like you said, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it often requires you to be the one pressing buttons. And it does require you to be the one putting things together because you're the one with the knowledge, you're the one with the stories, and your team can be really awesome at helping you thread it all together and getting it out there and packaging it up. But if you don't put your work into it, I think it shows. It shows in the way people feel about it, but it shows in the results.
I so agree. And I think a lot of what's out there is almost like making you feel, well, at least it did for me. And I want to speak for other people, but for me, it made me feel like if I am the one pushing the button, somehow I've done something wrong because I didn't delegate.
Can we talk about what the heck is that?
I don't know.
As if like you running your business means that you've done something wrong. I find that really interesting too. I'm like, I create my own social posts. That makes me a bad business owner. It's like, no, but that's the thing. A lot of us get into business because we are good at one thing. And if the business takes off because of that thing, why should we have to give it up just because some guru on the internet said, oh, you need to delegate that? It's like, said who?
Yeah, you should be delegating that task because it's not paying you enough. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Let's step back. So there's a lot of that messaging, I think. Shame-based.
It's a lot of that. Yeah.
It's too much. And you have a reel of you pushing the button on a launch. I think it was for CEO Mama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love that because it's like, yes, I've sat down, I've put the content, I've done everything, and now I'm going to make it live. Like,
yeah,
great.
It's like, why is that a bad thing? It's so interesting to me.
That's, I think, part of what makes you successful, you know? And it's the same for me is I am very involved in so many aspects of my business. And for a while, I felt a lot of guilt about that. Like, I got to pull myself out of my business. And it's like, no, I don't. Because that's what the DNA calls for.
Mm-hmm.
It needs me. And that's great. I want to be needed. Yeah. But it's also, I want to put my spin on it because that's what made it successful. It's what makes my authors successful. That's the juice right there. So let's do it.
Yeah, you're obviously in town for a Brendan Burchard event. And that's one thing Brendan says a lot, which you've probably heard. He's like, I press my own buttons. I write my emails and I press the buttons because then I get to actually make sure it's working and I have control over it. And like, it doesn't always mean that it's the most streamlined, optimized process, but it means it's effective. And you can delegate other stuff, but why not focus on the stuff you're actually good at?
Oh, yeah. No one's going to care about your business baby at the level you are, you know? And yes, you can have an amazing team. Like your team is incredible. But at the end of the day, there needs to be someone, I think, that leads the way and that says, this is how we're going to do it. And I'm right there with you pushing buttons, you know? So now that I'm really seeing that and learning that, I'm like embracing my button pushing and not trying to feel like any which way about it because it is an asset.
100%. So how right now do you structure your time as a business owner? Because obviously, yes, the marketing and the sales engine is important, but it's only one part of your business. I mean, your core work is the work that you do. So how are you splitting your time and doing that?
Yeah, so I spend Mondays and Tuesdays. Those are my in the business days. And I'm like with clients. I'm on the Zoom calls. I'm with the team. We have our meetings on Mondays. And I am very kind of entrenched in that. And I like that. I like starting the week kind of with people and in that space, But then Wednesday and Thursday, I need to take a step back. I'm very very extroverted those days. Wednesday, Thursday, I'm much more, okay, let me now internalize and think about the projects, the battle board, the vision, what's the big picture? And they're much more like CEO days for me. I didn't always structure it this way, but it helps to compartmentalize. How I learned this was, of course, many great people to learn this from, but Michelle Obama, she had an interview, an article, and it was about her up days and her down days. So Mondays and Tuesdays are my up days. I do the makeup, I do the hair, I do the thing, and I'm on. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays, I don't spend time on that. I spend time on the internal parts of the business, right? So that's a little bit easier than Fridays. Fridays are like a catch-all. It could be family, it could be appointments, it could be leftover stuff that I'm getting done for the weekend. So it's kind of like this catch-all day of what do we need to get done and what needs to happen. But I said this as well to a friend. I was like, it's really weird how offices, they don't really account for, people that work, right? It's like 9 to 5 and then they close and you're like, wait. So how do I'm just so Fridays, that's, doctor's appointments, dentist, and they're always inconvenient times, but it's got to get done.
I think it is really important to have days where you're in and you're on, and then days where you push back and you have space to think. I often find with myself, to get an idea that comes to me in a minute, I need 3 or 6 hours of thinking about it. And then I'm like, oh, I've got it. But you need that space and time to think about it. Then you can go execute on it.
Yeah, I'm a big internalizer. I like to get my journal in, of course, sit and write notes, write free writes or just anything. I have to handwrite it in order for my brain to understand what it's doing. So I do that as much as I can, and then I have at least a feeling of, okay, there's the plan, there's the vision, there's the goal, and I do that, during the week, and it really helps me feel like I'm taking the stuff that's in my brain and I'm putting it somewhere.
Yeah, going back to the beginning of the conversation when you were talking about wanting to get into your business with intentionality and do something that you actually love, being in it now, how do you think about it intentionally? Do you think about, I really want a business of X size with X amount of team members where I work X amount of times a week and that's it? You have a cap on that, or you want to kind of take it to the moon? How do you intentionally think about the way you want to run your business?
I think now, well, as a mom, I think a lot differently than I did. Before it was kind of pedal to the metal. How much can I do? How, far can I go with it? Now I'm more like, how much time can I spend with my daughter where I'm present and I'm not thinking about it and it's just going, right? The sales engine is all this, it's going still. And not just the sales engine, but also the client delivery engine, which is another, there's all, that as well. So I think about it now differently, and I think about prioritizing my weekly experience. I want time with her and I want that freedom and those patches of time where I'm not focused on the business at all. And it's there and it's part of what's taking over, but I can kind of disconnect for a bit, So what I'm prioritizing now is how I want to feel in the business and how I want to feel day to day, and creating a clear picture of that. I know what I don't want as well, and I think that's important.
What is that?
I don't want 6 up days a week. I don't want to travel constantly and never feel a sense of being home. I am a big homebody, right? And I also don't want to burn out. I've done that before. I have many awards for burning out. And they suck, I don't want any more of those. It's not fun. So for me, being able to feel a sense of presence with my family, that's a big thing. That time freedom, what's that quote? Time spent in good health with.
Yeah, the highest form of wealth is freedom of time in good health. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got kids, I think it just gives you a different lens to look at. I could work so much more before I had kids. And then when you do, you're like, oh, well, for a lot of people, you You reprioritize
Yeah.
in a different way, and it doesn't mean as much as it previously did. For some it does, but for others it doesn't.
Right.
And I think that's interesting. You have a daughter that's 9 months. You're in the thick of it. Really, you're a first-time mum. I'm so curious how you're finding the motherhood journey as an ambitious entrepreneur.
Oh, the motherhood journey is wild. It's like, and I think being the entrepreneur as well, there's so many similarities for me, at least in the two of before I had my daughter, my business was my baby and I was so protective and so right. And then you have to, at a certain point, which is where I am now, learn to let it breathe and kind of do its own thing a little bit. So now as a mom, I think I'm still in that, protective, but I'm learning she's learning to walk. So I have to kind of step back and go, all right, you're going to fall. You're going to hit your head a few times. Mommy's going to be okay. So I've had to learn, we're going to down regulate when baby's trying to walk. So there's so many parallels, but I think the biggest thing is prioritizing your mental health and your own wellness in that is everything, because you can get really lost in the business just like you can in motherhood, I think anyway.
100%. How are you doing that?
So a lot of help. And I think there's a couple of things I've figured out is one, I have to have help. I have to have people that are reliable. Not just help is such a generic thing, but for example, we had a house cleaner. This is a big deal because I'm a clean freak and I will do everything myself, and I will clean before they come and I will clean after they leave. And so it's how about we just get someone that is willing to do what you ask,
right,
and that will kind of be there and go the extra mile. So that was a huge thing, is getting people that have the level of willingness that you need. That's a game changer in business and I think personally, because you can have help, but if they're not helping you in the way you need to be helped,
then it doesn't really lessen your mental load either if you're thinking about it and stewing on it.
Oh yeah. And I'm obsessing maybe I should just put Post-it notes where she missed the dust. Just leave them, right? And just get obsessive with it. Or, maybe I should just create another checklist for her. It's or maybe you just need someone that is willing to do that and to be excellent. It's not necessarily easy to find, but I'm starting to think in my own way, I deserve that. I deserve that level of help, and it's going to propel me forward and it's going to make everyone's life better,
Right. And how have you been able to structure your working hours with parenting and figuring all that out? Because I remember, when I was in the 9-month mark, I think I was still figuring it out. How much childcare feels good? How much work feels good? I think those are all really big questions, and I love to ask these specifics because I think there's a lot of women listening that maybe don't have the village they can turn to and say, well, how much childcare do you have? And how did you figure that out? And what does that look like?
Yeah, those are such good questions. And I'm always in flux. I'm always trying to figure out, okay, I've got 2 up days, but after that Tuesday, I miss my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm oh no. So that's my limit.
Yeah.
And I just go by what feels good. And I'm also I'm an Aquarius, so I don't know how much this has to do with it. But if there's something that doesn't feel good, I am much better now about stopping it. So for example, too much childcare, too many working hours. I'm nope, that's too much. We have to set a boundary.
So what's your split right now? What's feeling good right now?
I think 2 days a week. And then Wednesday, Thursday, it's me and my husband.
Yeah.
And so it feels better because I can dip in and be with her during the day. So yes, I can do 1 or 2 hours and then I can be with her. And so that for me is so important. But yeah, 9 months is tough because she kind of wants me all the time. So
it's tough. And I think it's one of those things too that I do think we have to give ourselves permission to be fluid with. Just because a version of you agreed to 2 days 6 months ago doesn't mean that's what the version of you 6 months from now wants. And being pregnant with my second, it's also so interesting going in with that perspective. I think as Noemi's gotten older, my confidence has grown a lot in being willing to say what works for me, what doesn't, and being unapologetic about changing my mind. And I think as mothers, we have to talk about that more because we don't always have blueprints of what it looks like, and we're really figuring it out as we go. And I think that's why conversations like these are important. important. But I think you have to get to a comfort level of being okay changing your own mind and asserting that.
Absolutely. And not everyone is going to be the same.
No.
So if we play the comparison game of, oh, she's doing that or she has this and that, say, okay, that's amazing. That works for her. But what do you need? And that word you use, unapologetic about your needs, I think is so important, because that wasn't me. Like I was like, oh, so I'm so sorry, but can you? I'm so sorry. How many times are we going to apologize to the world? Like, no, like I need this, and this is going to make me happier, which I'm really starting to understand now is that makes her happier. If I want a happy child, like I have to prioritize what makes me happy, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And so talk to me about your book too.
Yeah. So my book is should I hold it up? My book is The Author Success Code and 9 Secrets to Write and Publish a Book That Will Change Your Life. And honestly, I am so proud of this book. You know, I poured all of my coaching experience into it and everything that I've learned about writing and publishing books, and really specifically turning people into authors. What is it? What are the mindset shifts we need? What are the tools we need, the strategy, and all the things that I've seen work for people? I've just poured it into this book. And when I originally wrote it, I will say I'm an overwriter. There were 17 secrets. And my editor was like, that's kind of a lot. Like, can we get like under 10? I was like, I think we can, you know, so there may be a book too of like the others that didn't make it in, but you know, it's true. People just need a certain set of skills to start. And I think that's so important. If we can just get that first draft done, you know, that milestone is everything. And then beyond that, the rest of it becomes a lot easier. People don't quite understand that, you know, when they start. I think many people associate a book with an editor. And I try to tell my clients, I'm like, well, an editor is not going to edit a blank page. They got nothing to work with. You've got to do the work for yourself first. Get that story down, your message down. Then the editor can happen. And so that's a large part of what I do, is help them with that lift of figuring out where to start, what to say, who the book is for, you know, and dialing in the branding of the book. Why is it going to matter? And many people have existing branding they're working with. So they're kind of like, how do I fit this into my thing? And it's like, well, we're not going to fit it in. We're going to elevate your thing, right? We're going to look at this book that you're creating. It's your next level. It's your next business. It's your next reinvention. So that's kind of how I approach it. But I'm so proud of it. And I asked many of my authors, would you write a success story? So there's 22 of them in there. And I just open it and read them like, oh, this is amazing. It feels so good.
It must feel really good to have something like this out, which feels like, you know what, this is my work. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And I also love that, because being in the process myself, I think the hardest part is staring at the blank page. But when you can almost break the back of it and get the structure put together, it starts to fill itself in. And then the editing and taking it from there and tweaking it becomes easy. But a lot of people are put off by the blank page. And I think that's really tricky to overcome.
Oh, it's the hardest thing. Is that where to start? And I think it's actually, for me, what I find is the expert, the person that's been doing their thing for a while, they've got a lot to say, a lot of stored up knowledge. They're achievers. They're highly successful. They typically are like, how do I take all that and put it into 200 pages? Right. It's like, we can do it. There's also, the book isn't going to be the whole thing. It's a starting point, right? So that structure you mentioned is everything.
I love that. So where can everyone find your book, your funnels? You give us everything. If someone wants to jump into this book or working with you, or they want to go look at your sales engine and see how that's running.
Yeah. So my website is writingcoachla.com, and they can go there. They can grab the book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, any retailer. Please leave a review if you read it. And
which makes the world of difference.
It really people don't understand how important reviews are for podcasts, for authors. Like, it is so important. And so, they can go there. They can grab it. My Instagram is at Ashley M. Writes. And so that's where I try to share as many valuable tips, but also kind of the mindset piece too. Let people know you can actually do this if you set your mind to it. So it's possible. It doesn't have to be a pipe dream forever.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being part of this, for being part of FFT. And just ending, what would you say to someone who is on the fence about maybe joining FFT, but even if they're just on the fence about, should I even build a funnel? Like, should I dive into something like this? So it doesn't have to be about the program, but more about, the process of doing that. Like, what would you say to that person?
I would say you need a playbook.
Right.
For success. And successful people are successful because they figured out the playbook. Someone either gave it to them and they added to the playbook. And so if you find a successful person like yourself, very successful, you built an amazing brand with Boss Babe and your programs like CEO Mama and Freedom Fast Track and the Society, which I'm in all of them and love it. But it's like, follow that person, seek out that mentor. And when you feel a connection and alignment with what they teach, go all into that. Learn everything you can, implement shamelessly, have no, embarrassment about where you are. Don't feel like you got to put on airs or be somewhere you're not. Just do it. Just do it. And that's what I did with FFT. I was like, I'm really bad at funnels. I was like, but I'm going to go in, I'm going to build my best darn funnel that I can. And I'm going to go to all the calls, even if I'm no makeup, breastfeeding, whatever. And I'm there and I'm doing it. And look, and it's the best feeling to have a funnel that is working. It's also the best feeling, I think, to learn from somebody who cares about their thing so much the way that you do. And so, yeah, that's why I'm into Boss Babe for life. So
I love that. And I also think, it's not easy to show up to every call. It's not easy to complete all the modules. There's so many times where you're like, I can't do this. I do courses myself all the time and I get halfway through and I'm like, oh, there's more. Like, it's really tough to do that. And it always shows, like, we can look at the people with the best results. I mean, because we use Kajabi, we can go back and we can see like how much of the modules they've done, how much work they've done, and it always correlates. But it's hard. It's like you join a course and 80% of it is the mindset to take you through it.
That's right. And I think that mindset going in, have that intention. And I remember that day I was like, okay, I'm signing up, but I'm signing up with an intention. I'm not just buying a thing, because I can buy a lot of stuff and we're all guilty of buying a lot of stuff. But it's like, do it with the intention of, what do you want out of this? What do you want at the end of this process? And I think you even lead us through the vision and the exercise of, what is your goal? Where are you going? And really like dial that in. Why do you want this? It's called Freedom Fast Track for a reason.
It's a fast track.
Freedom. All of us want to earn more and work less and be valued for what we do in the world. Okay, great. So see that and go in with that intention. That's the key, I think.
I love that so much. I mean, it's so freaking true. And it's hard, but I think that's the one thing, fast track, it's an investment. It's not one of those things that you just want to put on your credit card and never look at. It's like, that is not a smart move. It's one of those things where I think you have to make the decision, I'm either going to do it and I'm going to really do it, or it's not worth it at all, because it's a lot of money.
It is. And it also, if you focus, it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah.
And
totally.
that was me. That first sale was like, oh, dang.
You're
okay.
Like, wait, it works?
I just got to learn this for free now. But this is the thing, the investment side of it. I really believe women need to invest. I think personally, your programs are so fairly, reasonably, amazingly priced. I mean, just all the stuff, everyone knows what's out there. I don't need to name any names, like, right? But like the value of what you teach and what you give people, it's next level. Like, it's crazy. So if you go in with that intention, you make the investment and, focus, and you will get your investment back. Like, I really see this with people. When you pay attention, that saying, you do.
Really do. I know it works for me too.
It does. And it's sometimes you need to make those financial leaps. I would not be sitting here had I not done that again and again and again and push myself to make those uncomfortable investments. But you're not going to grow if you don't stretch. And part of it sometimes is a financial stretch that feels scary. But then it's like, okay, baby, go make the money back then. Don't be so scared. Just go get the funnel going and make it back. No biggie. You can do it,
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a joy and such an honor. And yeah, I love everything you've created and that you stand for. And it's a great honor. So thank you.
Thank you.